Welcome to the kiwimana Bay. Hi, glad you joined us today. This is episode 136 of our beekeeping show, The Miracle of Mixing Foundation.
Yes, in this episode we talk about mixing foundations and how a Dunedin couple are thinking outside the hive to help the bees.
Also, what we are going to do with our bees at Kiwimana Apiary and hearing what our roving reporters from North Carolina, Portland and Australia have to share with us on what's going on in their apiaries.
Kiwimana are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitaki Ranges on the wild west coast of Auckland in the North Island of New Zealand.
We produce and sell beekeeping equipment, provide beekeeper services and education. Oh, that's a silent Bob. So I guess you're wondering who helped us in bringing the show to you.
This show is made possible for you by our amazing supporters. Every show we read out our top supporters, and on the first show of every month we read out all our supporters, so thanks to you all. But this week we'd like to thank Nathan Buzzing Beekeeping,
Trish Stretton, Lisa Morrissey, Christopher Brown, Greg Parr and Barbara Weber.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's awesome.
So, what does it mean to be an organic or natural beekeeper?
Well, at the moment, it's about making sure that Varroa does not start to deteriorate the health of our colonies. And we talked about doing inspections to assess the status of all our hives. I didn't manage to get them all done. But when you are managing organically or naturally, you require more monitoring of your brood health and making sure that there isn't Varroa present. That's where we're at the moment.
Yeah, and the weather's getting hot, eh? And what's happening with the weather in Kiwimana?
Well, at the moment, we've woken up to 12 degrees, which is about, as I can understand, 61 degrees Fahrenheit for you guys over the other side of the globe. During the day, it's around 23 degrees Celsius, 72 Fahrenheit, and the other evening, it was a lot cooler. So this saw that the girls were not gathering on the landing boards as they had done in the evenings before. So, just little subtle changes going on. And we had a beautiful moonlit night. And as I walked through the apiary, there was this beautiful smell of the honey. I wish I could just share that with you. But amongst all the honey, there's just this quiet buzz of the girls just sitting there and buzzing. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and in Australia they're getting 40 degrees, and apparently that heat's going to be arriving in New Zealand by the end of the middle of this week. So get some water out there, guys, for your bees, because it's going to be very hot soon.
Yeah, I've been topping up the water because from one of our beginners, they gave us a bag of seaweed because they live near the beach. That's Alan and Karen, and I've been putting that with the water, and the bees are loving that.
Oh, awesome. Could be the salt in it, eh?
Yeah, minerals and all that sort of stuff. So awesome.
Do you think the bee behaviour's changed at all since the last show?
Yeah, I think so. I could hear the buzz get noisier as the inspections went on. So they started off nice and calm and then they got buzzier, as it were. There was some robbing behaviour going on and a bit of fighting. So I reckon that there is a bit of dearth going on in some of the areas and maybe in ours. So we popped some videos on the Bees Knees Facebook and Kiwimana on the work we've been doing on Kiwimana HQ. So just check that out, guys. And overall, the bees are still very busy collecting nectar. The populations are all strong and doing well.
And I noticed the Kanuka stopped flowering now, eh?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I've seen little petals, around the apiary. So, yeah, that's generally the sign that they have finished their job at this point.
Oh, that's good. And what have the beekeepers been doing?
My work's been involving the pickup of the nucleus colonies, which have grown into two full-depth boxes of fully working hives, and those hives were pretty solid going out, so I'm very thrilled for them. They've needed to buy an extra box because the colonies are doing so well, and we've still got about five weeks of summer to go. And if autumn's anything like last year, it may go on for a few more weeks. So there's opportunities for the bees to still grow.
Yes, and I've been clearing grass, and I've injured my back, haven't I? So
yes, you have.
So well at the moment.
Bit sore there, Gary? But
it's hard to stand up.
Yeah. So your job, Gary, is to heal and rest, and then we'll get on with the other stuff. Yesterday I mowed all the lawns. And when I did do the assessments on the colonies that I did manage to check, I was checking brood health and cell checks for AFB and Varroa presence, and I did find some Varroa in the bottom of the cells of the drones that were there. So they're all going to be treated, and it'll be oxalic acid vaporization. But even though I didn't get it all done before this show, on the whole, the colonies have each produced over 10 frames of capped honey, full depth, with many nectar frames in production, and they're blimmin' heavy. So I had to have some spare boxes when I worked the Langstrath hive and had to move frame by frame. And even the frames, they're about 5 kilos. Which is that about 10 pounds or something?
Yeah, it's about 10 pounds, isn't it?
Yeah, around there. And geez, it was pretty blimmin' heavy.
Yeah, because we had some family over from Australia, and they were commenting about how heavy the frames were, right?
Yeah. So it was a frame by frame and moving them out, then doing the next box and repeat. Yeah, interestingly, the girls' cleaning behaviour really showed they are picking up Varroa presence in the cells, so they weren't capping some of the cells, which was amazing because I used my capping scratcher to pull out the larvae, and it was beautiful and white, so I knew it wasn't any disease and otherwise healthy. But yes, when I turned it upside down in the cell was Varroa. So the girls' behaviour is becoming quite fastidious and quite thorough to pick up that, and I'm really proud of them.
Awesome. So I guess you'd be working on a program now to treat them all?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll double dose those where I saw the presence of Varroa, and also look at the timing for it because, once capped cells are there, that's about 9 days. So I like to do it straight away, basically, and then wait for the hatching day. So I work out when the hatching day is, and then that's usually about 2 weeks after that, two and a bit weeks. How long's that? So it's 9 days minus 21. How much is that?
12, isn't it?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, so we're probably looking at about 12 days or 13 days after that when they hatch and hopefully capture, killing all the Varroa that may emerge at the same time. And also we'll be doing some mite fall checks, so natural mite falls, using our inspection board. So hopefully with the treatments we'll knock back the Varroa, and that's the aim, is to keep the overall health of the colony up and strong.
Cool. And what's coming up this month then?
Well, I'm thinking about storage of honey frames because I like to keep honey available to them. I usually keep them on the hives, but, when you're manipulating things, sometimes you get more uncapped with nectar, so I have to keep an eye on that. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with storage of honey frames, but generally I would like to leave them on the hive, and then I just add an extra hive mat with a small slot cut in it so that there's access for the girls. So, I'm very excited, and we might actually extract a couple of frames.
Oh, awesome, because I want to get some raw honey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, the best thing ever.
Yeah, after last week's show about the it's good for diabetics, I want to get some of that.
Yeah, give it a go. But don't forget to consult your doctor.
I will.
I'm not sure what's happening with bee behaviour, but I'm watching them, and they don't seem to be out as much as they were, about 3 weeks ago. So we've been doing a lot of beekeeper stuff in terms of the apiary management and lawns and cutting back weeds and just getting everything schmacko. And overall, we'll knock down Varroa and that is to keep the mite load down. So, awesome!
What are the benefits of running a honeybee colonies organically or naturally?
Well, at the moment, results of what's been happening over the last couple of years using the oxalic acid treatments, and I think it's really showing that the girls are coping really well with mites, and hopefully that improved cleaning behaviour of the cells with varroa inside may be enhancing their natural instincts, which they can't do if you keep stunting their activities by using these miticides or treatments or methods that are not allowing them to be bees. So, Gary, your mission, should you decide to create it, would be to what?
Save the bees, one hive at a time, by helping you out there keep honeybees
alive.
That's right.
So, that's my side of things, Gary, and thanks everyone for listening, and hope that gives you some ideas for the next couple of weeks. So it's still summer here in New Zealand, guys, but what's happening around the world? So let's hear from our kiwimana roving reporters. Go!
This week we have roving reporters from North Carolina, Victoria in Australia, and Portland, Oregon. Let's first up hear from Avery in North Carolina.
Hello kiwimana, Avery here reporting from Rascals Apiary in northeastern North Carolina. It's getting really cold over here now. The high is about to start being close to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, or 7 degrees Celsius, during the day, and 20 degrees Fahrenheit, or -7 degrees Celsius, at night. It's also going to get a little rainy in the next 2 weeks or so. Beekeepers in my area in North Carolina should start preparing for hive buildup. Boxes should be made or bought, and people should start purchasing bees for the spring season if they want. There is also a Beekeeping 101 course happening soon in North Carolina. As of now, beekeepers should continue feeding fondant, candy boards, or sugar cakes to their bees, although in a few months it would be okay to start feeding 2-to-1 sugar syrup. Also, I have finally put together a name for my apiary, so, to those who are interested, please welcome Wild Dragon Honey Farm to the beekeeping community.
Well, that's great to hear from Avery, and it's getting cold there, eh? And also great to hear that she's renamed her apiary, Wild Dragon Honeybee Farm. That's awesome.
That's wonderful, and I just was working it out. She's talking about 40 degrees, and that is about 5 degrees here in New Zealand. So that's Celsius.
Oh,
yeah, so very cold there, and not below freezing at this point, but getting there, I'd say. So what does Ben from Ben's Bees in Victoria, Australia have to say?
Yes, well, it's been very hot in Australia, so let's hear from Ben.
Hello, Gary. Hello, Margaret. And hello to all the amazing listeners who listen to the Kiwi Mania podcast. My name's Ben. I've got my little company, Ben's Bees, which I'm just 20 kilometres from the CBD of Melbourne. So I run quite a few hives, about the 400 mark. So as you can imagine, keeps me busy. Now, I've got some tough conditions at the moment. It is hot. Hot. Now, when I say hot, we're dealing with temperatures at the moment of over 40 degrees Celsius. Now, for our American listeners, that is over 100 Fahrenheit. So you can imagine the poor bees aren't doing so well. You can see them sitting on the entrance. They're fanning. They're not flying around as much. They're not foraging. They're absolutely going for water. You can see them if there's a pond or a puddle or a bucket. They're going for the water. So it's a little bit tough at the moment. The bees, not so good of a season for us here in Victoria. The trees and the shrubs aren't producing the nectar like they usually do. So a little bit tough. And so we can see the price of honey going up a smidgen, I believe. That's just my prediction there. So, but other than that, bees have been good. Queens have got sort of well mated. We did have a long, cold winter. It wasn't wet winter, but it was long and cold, so that sort of set production back a bit. But other than that, everything is going good. So thank you, everyone, for listening to this amazing podcast. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Margaret. And everyone, take care and look after your bees.
Wow, Kiwi Mania.
Kiwi. Ben's renamed our show.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's not a good situation, is it, over there? I think
No.
people are actually losing hives at the moment because of the heat.
Oh, that is terrible. And our hearts go out to you guys I know how much work you guys have to do at the moment. And, we hope that things change a bit and get a bit cooler.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, hang in there, guys. And thanks for that report, Ben. That's awesome.
Yeah, alternatively, what's been happening over across the ditch here with us, we woke up this morning to quite a moisture layer on the grass, and it was quite cool. So the bees are foraging around 12 degrees, which is, about 45, 46, 47 Fahrenheit. So the bees have been very busy, but yeah, such a difference, even though we're just across the ditch.
Well, as I said before, that weather, that heat wave is actually heading this way, so we should probably get it this week sometime. So
Okay,
well, let's get back to Portland, Oregon, and we want to hear from Mandy.
Greetings from Portland, Oregon. This is Mandy Shaw. We are having a very typical winter here, daily averages in the 40s with plenty of rain and wind. But we've also seen daytime temps reach mid to upper 50s, and the bees have been taking full advantage of those days to get out and stretch their legs and even bring back some bits of pollen. I've been getting reports that colonies in southern Oregon are already brooding up, and a report from a bee friend here in Portland that hive temperature readings indicate that brood is present in one of his hives. We're always cautious about sudden drops in temperatures and the occasional snowstorm in February and March, which is very tough on the bees, especially if they're brooding up. Beekeepers here are watching emergency food consumption, checking quilt boxes for moisture buildup, and anxiously wringing their hands in anticipation for early April when we can go into our colonies and have a real look at how the bees have fared. 10 of my 12 colonies are still alive, but we have quite a ways to go before spring. Enjoy those swarms and summer bees, Gary and Margaret. Until next time, may the buzz be with you.
Cool bananas. Well,
Yeah.
That was good to hear from Mandy, and interesting that they've got some brood going on in there. So they're looking at about 15 degrees.
Yeah, it sounds like they're getting out a bit, so that's good.
Yeah, so a bit of flying.
And brood's starting to happen as well. That's surprising.
That's really interesting. I look forward to hearing what's happening next with them. What a difference, eh?
Thanks, guys, for your roving reports. And do you want to be a roving reporter? You out there listening to the show? It would be awesome if you could help create the buzz by being part of the show, reporting in from your location, whilst in the field.
And as we've said, guys, we need more Kiwi reporters. So come on, guys, easy to do.
Absolutely. Just a quick 2-minute update of your local weather conditions and what people should be doing with their bees in your area. And send your sound file to Gary, that's me, Gary, at kiwimana.co.nz, or on the page, on the show notes, there's a mailing list there which will you can join to be reminded of when the next show's coming out to get your roving report in. And the show notes for the show will be kiwi.bz/136. Beekeeping news. News you can use. That's right, and never abuse.
That's right. So mixing foundation and foundationless frames. This is a great post from Hillary, who does beekeepinglikeagirl.com, and she talks about foundationless frames and the best way to get started using them.
Yes, and quoting from the article, many beekeepers are intimidated by foundationless beekeeping. They aren't sure their bees have enough time to build out before winter without assistance, or they worry about cross-combing.
Well, there are things that you do worry about because I call it crazy comb, and it is possible. So what sort of points did you pick up from this one, Gary?
Hillary doesn't recommend you use this in honey supers, as in her words, bees tend to use more creativity in the honey supers and tend to build a more crazy comb. And she also says using foundationless frames in the brood box has advantages, and she's got a link there to an article about the advantages. And she also recommends only in honey supers, which we kind of said that, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that we've sort of read that you put one foundation frame, then one empty frame, so that in either side, so you sort of do the checkerboarding situation with one empty, one foundation, and then get them to build those up, then start bringing them together after that. But everyone has a different view.
Yes, indeed. And the advantages she's saying to use Foundationless in the brood is things like small cells help the bees with mites and diseases, apparently. And also the bees make what they want. So if they need drone comb, they'll make drone comb and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. So it's another good article from Hilary. And even though she's beekeeping like a girl, which is awesome.
I mean, we've tried Foundationless, haven't we? How did we find it?
Some of the seasons haven't been as good, so, it really is about timing, in my view.
Oh, absolutely. You can only do it when they're building comb, eh?
Yeah, so it's kind of like you really want to get the hive set up for the breeding season, and then once you've got all your splits done and all that done, then you can start adding more frames as soon as that real nectar flow comes on. That's the best time, in my view, to get them to start drawing that. With the nectar, they can raise more wax comb.
Yes, absolutely. We had no feedback about this story, but yes, interesting idea. Yeah, you remember a while ago you had the lifestyle and you had those Foundationless frames. Did they build those out okay?
We only got one that was done, but it wasn't a strong enough season, so it is about that. You could sugar syrup feed, but because we don't do that, that wasn't an option, really.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next story, Thinking Outside the Hive. This is a story about Murray and Heidi, who run a hive rental business in Dunedin. And so read this post to discover more about their operation.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting way to do it, I mean, this was the second popular article that you guys were getting into, and it says, a quote from the article, with honey costing around $18 to more than $50 a kilo in Dunedin supermarkets, the notion of having a beehive in the garden is extremely appealing.
Yes, absolutely. And they've been doing this for quite a while, because I remember when they started a while back.
I don't know.
Okay, and so some talking points are here. I think it's a great way to help the bees without having to learn how to manage the bees, so you can get someone to manage the bees for you.
Yeah, because it's in the article, she says it sounds like hard work because what with gathering knowledge, buying equipment and having the time to do it right can be difficult. So it is a great way to have bees without the hassles, I guess. But I feel there's a bit of risk involved with that.
Yeah, it's not as much fun.
Well, that's true, and the risk of not having that much fun. So she also talks about in the article that they run Italian bees, so they do a bit of breeding. Obviously, they'll need to do that so they can raise their hives, and she calls them pet beehives.
Yeah, and it was interesting about the fact they talk about their bee suits. Murray wears a yellow one and Heidi wears a pink one because they reckon they're better than the white bee suits. I've never heard that before.
No, that's very interesting, and I don't know.
And I did email them to ask them for a comment, and I didn't hear back yet.
Okay, well, that's a shame. They could have had a few things to say and share with us, but never mind. They're also doing some work with local schools in the Dunedin area, so that's awesome.
It is great. Great work, guys.
Yep, and keep it up.
Yeah, and if you want to check out their website, it's rentahive.co.nz.
Okay, well, we didn't get any feedback on this one, but those two top articles just say to me that people are very busy out there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, feedback from you. Now, we heard from Anna in Alaska.
Absolutely. Greetings from Alaska. My name is Anna. I am New Zealand-born beekeeper with dual citizenship from Alaska. We are just in the midst of recovering from Christmas sales for our sought-after Alaskan fireweed honey.
Never heard of that.
No.
And she goes on to say, first of all, I'd like to say I really enjoy your podcast. Huge fan. Awesome.
Woohoo!
I especially enjoy when Margaret mimics the American accent. Ah, shame. Ah, shame. So there you go. There you go, Dale. You've got someone likes your American accent.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What was that?
I don't know. Okay, and she says she's looking forward for beekeeping opportunities in New Zealand.
Yes.
Many thanks, Anna Reid, and all the best with that.
Yes, if you're looking for someone to help in your beekeeping operation, drop me a line and I will forward over Anna's details to you.
That's fantastic. So that's awesome. So here we come to the end of the show.
Funky.
Oh, wow, that's cool. And so we've come to the end of the show, guys. And do you love what we do? Did you find something useful for your beekeeping? Do you want to help us to produce more content?
And it's easy to become a supporter. You just go to kiwi.bz/banana. And also just a note that we use Patreon for our supporter site and it actually operates in US dollars.
If you become a supporter, you get a mention on the show, Gary.
Well, and you also get these shows a whole week before everyone else.
Yeah, awesome. A few privileges there.
It'd be awesome if you could do that.
Yes, and don't forget the warm heart. You will sleep better at night knowing you are helping the beekeeping community, and you're helping Gary and Margaret produce more shows, videos and blog posts for the beekeeping community at large. So thanks, guys, for as little as $1 a month. I mean, really awesome.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. If you decide to do that, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, so really good you could make it today, and we just so happy to have you here, and thanks for taking time to be with us.
And the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.bz/136.
Awesome.
And I'm still recovering from my back.
Yeah, and in New Zealand, keep going with the flow, guys, because the flow is go.
That's right. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another podcast. Thank you.
See ya. Time for a big cup of tea.
Oh, sounds good.
Awesome. Come on, Snow.
And what do you think is the benefits of running an organic beekeeping?
Welcome, Wild Bee Honey Farm.
Wild Dragon?
Oh, sorry, I got that completely wrong. Just do that again. What was it? And there was some rubbing?
Rubbing?
There was some robbing behaviour going.
Family show, Margaret. Yes, this is a great post from Hillary from Honeybee Sweet. That's not right.
Banana!